And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Market Reflection. Still Tuesday, June the 6th. My name is John Hoban. Thanks for trusting me with your time. And as expected, pretty low opportunities today. Looking at it this morning, there weren't a lot of nuances that were standing out. I wasn't finding any real good ruling reasons for any trades today, so I stayed patient, took one trade today. It was a decent trade. I'm happy with it. And, take a look at where the equities closed today. The S&P unofficially up 9 points, the NASDAQ down 2 points, and the Dow pretty much just flat by the end of the day. So we didn't really have any big news, any economic news come out. We just had a day of just kind of wandering. Taking a look at the crude oil, at least there was a little bit of movement. It settled at 71.74, down about 41 cents, 0.5%. Still not a lot of movement there. So we've seen the VIX drop to just about 14 today. I don't remember the last time I saw the VIX down at 13. I kind of remember a 12 a while back, but it's been a while. So yeah, today was just kind of a wandering, lackluster day with no news, no economic data, no talking Feds available to shake things up. Starting to wonder if this is going to be a bit of a trend until next Wednesday's FOMC meeting. It's unlikely tomorrow's trade balance numbers are going to motivate traders to do much. Kind of a hurry up and wait type of situation, which did give us the opportunity to look for a decent trade today in a lot of these markets. Hopefully, you were able to keep yourself from over trading today. I think over trading on days like today can be really a detriment to having a good day. We're going to take a look at these charts here shortly and see what happened. We only had one or two markets that opened outside of the range with overnight inventory. I know we saw, I think, crude oil close up that overnight inventory by the end of the session. Really just kind of a day. I'm kind of surprised. There's so many of you here to watch this, but I always appreciate you, and make sure you hit the lucky like button. Share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love are always welcome. It's good to see you this afternoon, Sean. Dr. VJ, hello. ZK, good to hear. You're going to hear from customer service about your platform issues. Zach, I'm sure that they're working on getting to you. Casey, good afternoon. 9 out of 10 for quick scalps today. Well, good. You traded well then. Anissa, good afternoon. Good evening. Sudharshan, Mr. Hoag, I've got the 3K target in step 2 of the combine, but with one trading day, I was for 1.4K, needed to make 672 more, but my psychology went down, and now I'm down 2K. Can you give me any advice? One of the things that I've seen quite a bit, the things that have happened to me is focusing on a particular target, be it time-based or financially based, tends to take you out of your strategy. I'm not, I don't know exactly what happened to you today, but, when you're that close to a target, it's really, I think, important to just set that fact aside, focus on looking for good opportunities. Don't be in a hurry to reach any profit targets within a specific amount of time. Some days the market just isn't gratuitous that way. So if you start to overtrade, if things start going wrong and you start to get upset, that's when we have these kind of days when things go bad, right? So sorry that happened, but the best advice I can give is just forget about the overall P&L. Look for good trades that are within your process, within your strategy. One of the things I talked about this morning was the fact that I really wasn't seeing any nuance in the market that was telling me that it was more of an important nuance. There wasn't any real hypothesis that I could really kind of lean on. There was no ruling reason in the markets that we were looking at this morning. Maybe a couple, like in crude oil, there may have been a ruling reason in the fact that we opened away from price, and we had an overnight inventory. And I think the biggest move of the day was closing up that overnight inventory. And I think in the euro too, we'll go over this and we'll see this in the charts very shortly. But it is, whenever I've had a goal, I used to have a goal in the S&P pit. Some of you have probably heard this story, but I used to have a goal in the S&P is to make 40 ticks a day. 40 ticks, $1,000. And I can't tell you how many times I got within 38, 39, 37 ticks of that goal and decided to stick around and make those couple extra ticks just so that I felt like I had reached my goal. And when things, if that first trade is a loss, now you're chasing more money. The second trade is a loss, now you're upset. Then you start chasing. I've ruined a lot of really good days very close to goals like that just by demanding that I reach that goal on that day. There's nothing finite in futures trading. If you're close, that's good. Just wait, be patient, look for the next opportunity. This is a difficult thing to do, Sudarshan, and it's, we all learn that lesson. I've learned that lesson probably 1,000 times, and I'm still at risk of doing that. So don't feel like you're alone. Just remember the next time you're in that situation, stay calm, cool, collected. Make sure that the trade that you're about to take is cognizant. You've asked yourself if it's in your best interest, and it's part of your strategy, part of your process. So important to remember that. Bill, good afternoon. Grateful America, market range too small, but was able to squeeze out 300 in the NASDAQ. Good job, Grateful America. This is difficult. And, the fact that you were able to squeeze out $300 on a very range-bound, small range, no volatility market, that's great, man. That's a wonderful thing. All right. Free information. Hello, Vince. Good to see you this afternoon, my guy. Grateful America, when things go bad on a low-range day like today, you can't do much to make it back until the next days or getting into some volatility, right? That's the thing, man. You put yourself in a hole on a day like today, it's very difficult to try and dig your way out. Dan Trader, good afternoon. Tom. Hey, Hogue was up decent in the morning, but gave it all back and then some due to overtrading. All good, hectic day, should have known better. Well, the prep this morning, I think we kind of talked about the idea that I wasn't really seeing anything tremendous. No important nuance or nuances, no ruling reasons for any trades early in the session today. So, if you're up in the morning on days like today, you might actually be better walking away, right? Walking away. Just take that money, wait for the next day. Things are going to change. The market is going to expand. There's going to be bigger opportunities. Jay, you lost 300 today. That's a completely acceptable outcome from a day like today. As long as those trades were in your strategy and in your process, they were good trades, even if they were losses. It's when we get outside of our strategy and things start going bad when things start going bad, right? Jenish, nice trading day for you today. Brett, free information, feeling about the ES going over 4,300. Thoughts? Well, I think that is it's a distinct possibility. It's only 7 points away from it here. We'll have to see what it looks like tomorrow morning, though. Jock Dr. VJ, it's my pleasure. Hey, good to see you, JT. My goal is to trade less, be patient, and trade better. Once I'm in the green, I have been successful calling it a day. Always nice to finish the day green as opposed to worrying about a loss. Geo, good to see you. Dan Trader, Lazy's around here somewhere. Trader Fabe, hello. I wanted to get the challenge passed to ASAP, but with your words, I'm back to making some rules. Good, and follow those rules. Trader Fabe, free information, was volatile this morning. Wanted a yes at 42.69, but scared to jump in. Jupiter is around. Tours will reach out great results and expand profit and knowledge. Jupiter is around. I'm going to have to look for it tonight if it's clear. So, again, thank you for joining me today. Don't get too many of these reflections done, but we're working on being more consistent and expanding some of the information and some of the content that we're putting out. We're hoping you're going to like it. Taurus, not tours. I get it. Jupiter is around Taurus. Understood. Yeah. I don't know what this means, or if it's even happening, but is Mercury rising? I don't know what that means. My daughter keeps pretty good track of that stuff. Let's jump into the charts and take a look through these and think about what we were looking at this morning and what we were thinking this morning and how things played out. As always, I'm going to start with the S&Ps here. So remember, it is in rollover, and that may have something to do with the range-bound activity we ended up having today. We thought we had some cautious sellers yesterday, or buyers. It's difficult to know. The open interest ended up the final being an additional 9,300, not 12,000. So a little bit less open interest than we were looking at first thing this morning, but it's kind of moot or inert. What I was going to be thinking about here is where we opened. Okay, we looked lower. Where do we trade to? We traded to the value area low from Friday. That would have been a tough trade to take. I was thinking more of the market coming into a repair lower or a repair higher. Well, we ended up putting in this low and coming up and getting relatively close, but never reaching the point of control from yesterday. I used that information to look for my opportunity today. When we broke out above this initial balance and we failed to hold above it, that was my signal to say, all right, let's look for a short. So we had a pretty decent short, held it to low of value, and that was it. That's all I did today. Again, that was a nuance that kind of gave me a little bit of freedom to limit risk, and it ended up working out. If it didn't, I would have been fine with it because it was perfectly part of my strategy. Here's the TPO chart we put together today. Normal variation. Looks almost like we put in a late spike, but that's a pretty short late spike. Excess low, IB extreme low. We are putting in some relatively weak excess on these highs. However, this is going to be interesting for us to see how this market is looking tomorrow morning. Again, we don't have a lot of talking feds. We don't have a lot of economic numbers. There's really, just the trade balance numbers tomorrow. Maybe somewhat impactful because that's all we've got to look at. We have jobless claims on Thursday, and we'll see how those come out. But besides that, I mean, we're really just kind of starving for new information, for new data. Here's the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, we have been kind of talking about the idea that the upside auction is starting to get a little bit old. It's a little bit overdone, perhaps. Doesn't mean that the market can't rip back to the upside. It's got to bring in new business to do so. Other than that, we've got 2 days that are basically dojos. This market is indecisive. It is looking for new data. And in the process, I think the S&P and the NASDAQ are kind of evening out inventory. When we start to range like this, it does a lot to kind of eat away at any inventory that has been created over time. Well, we opened, we looked lower, we looked back, we got to the point of control from yesterday in the NASDAQ. We just rotated, let's see, 1 rotation, 2 rotation, 3 rotation, just back and forth, kind of almost randomly. That's why I find it so important on days when I don't see a nuance or a ruling reason early in the session to be patient and look for better trade locations as the day goes on. I mean, the best trade long was in the first half hour. The best short was 2.5 hours later. The next good long was a couple hours after that. The next short was a couple hours after that. I mean, you just be patient and look for what happens on the extremes if you can get them. If you can get them. What about crude oil? Crude oil, we talked, I think, a little bit about an overnight inventory that was short. Here's where we were at, right in the middle of range and right in the middle of balance. Here's that 30-minute chart. So here's all of our overnight inventory. The market opened. All of the shorts in the hole here got nervous and they brought price basically right back to where the market opened last night, even back to settlement and the point of control from the previous day before weaning off to just pretty much do nothing the rest of the day. What's this going to look like on the TPO chart? Double distribution trend day on a trend day with very little trend. Bottom, the initial balance, the extreme of the regular trading hour session. What about gold? Was there anything to do in gold? Well, remember we were right in the middle of balance. Here's the 30. Just ripping. This would have been, I'm so glad I wasn't trading this today because a lot of my kind of thought, but not really a true hypothesis was, well, if we start accepting higher, we could trade up to this high volume node, which didn't happen. And if we start to trade lower, we could go repair yesterday's double distribution trend day, and neither of them happened. I'm so glad I wasn't stuck trading gold today, but we're not stuck doing anything. We can choose. And I chose not to. Here's the euro, still holding downside structure, now in a downside kind of digestive period. We saw this morning that we got a test down to weekly kickoff low or reasonably close to it. Overnight inventory was short, and we did pull off some of that overnight inventory, but still not great shakes here, not a great opportunity. Here's that weekly kickoff low. We did take out this naked point of control. I'll take that off later. But, overnight inventory, short, yes. Did it come all the way back to where it started? No. Opportunity against weekly kickoff low, yes. What's this TPO chart look like? Normal variation, extreme, excess greater on the low side, which makes sense with the proximity of the weekly kickoff low, so close to that. And here is the natural gas, just going right to the 30. Overnight inventory got a little bit long. It was reconciled really before the session today. Didn't quite get to our double distribution trend day down here. We kind of stopped short and then kind of rallied, grinded higher the rest of the day. Take a look at this TPO chart. Very normal, very very symmetrical. The market's going to start looking for another place to facilitate trade. It was pretty symmetrical in the upper distribution here, symmetrical here. We didn't quite get to repair level down here. What was the open interest in this morning? The estimated was an additional 5,100 on a double distribution to the upside. So we did, I believe, bring in some longs here. What about today? I don't think we brought in much of anything. So these markets certainly giving us the opportunity to exercise our muscles to remain patient. 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 Joe, please explain how you come to a conclusion to short after the initial run to the long. What was your reasoning for the short? So let's go back to the charts here and we'll talk a little bit about this. So the reasoning for the short. We had stopped short here in the 830, 839, 930 bar. We had stopped short of point of control. I was in a meeting with some other traders and I said, I find it interesting that we couldn't get to the point of control from yesterday. So I said, there's information in that. We couldn't get there. Initially, we thought we probably had a delta divergence to the short side because we had some pretty strong positive delta, and the market was really struggling to rally. When it finally did rally, we had some pretty good upside delta. We couldn't get to the point of control. What doesn't happen is as important as what it does. So I said to my guys, I said, that's finding that interesting that we couldn't get to the point of control. It was only another couple of points. Visual levels tend to be kind of reached, and if they're not reached, that's when I raise my eyebrows. That's when I say, interesting. So I waited and I really thought about getting short a couple of times along here. But when the market broke out above that level by just 2 ticks and didn't find the continuation to go back up and test this point of control, that was my opportunity to enter and caught a decent move down to value low. Now, could it have failed? Absolutely. But I really was able to limit my risk because the market came up, failed. It only broke out by 2 ticks. There wasn't anything left to do up there. So when it came back inside the range, I said, all right, let's try this. And my stop was really very relatively close to a continuation of this time period. So I didn't have to risk a lot, and it turned out to be a pretty decent trade. But anyway, that's really the kind of, I don't know if it's a conclusion, it's more of a hypothesis as to why we take trades, right? There's nothing finite in trading. We don't know for sure the outcome of anything. So, that was a hypothesis. We couldn't get there to that point of control earlier. We broke out. We couldn't get to it this time. That's my opportunity. All right. You guys know what today is, don't you? Today is D-Day. D-Day. 1944. The Allies stormed the Normandy coast, saving all of us from tyranny. 1971, the Ed Sullivan Show aired for the very last time. 1933, the first drive-in movie theater opens up. Funny. As far as music is concerned, one of our favorites, Steve Vai, it's his birthday today. He was born in 1960. Has played with pretty much everybody, including Frank Zappa. And then, I don't know this guy, but my daughter loves this band. Ross McDonald, the bassist and keyboardist with the indie rock band The 1975. Won the Best British Group and British Album of the Year for their 2018 third album. On 1962, on this day, the first Beatles recording session took place at Abbey Road Studios. They recorded 4 tracks, one of which was Love Me Do. The musicians were paid £7 10 pence, or $12.07 each. They didn't have to split that. They made that for that session. 1965, the Rolling Stones released the single I Can't Get No Satisfaction in the U.S., which went on to be their number one hit in the UK, but it was only played on pirate radio stations because its lyrics were considered too sexually suggestive. Ooh. What else did I see here? 1987, Whitney Houston had her second UK number one single with I Want to Dance with Someone. And in 2005, John Bonham was voted the number one in Classic Rock magazine's 50 Greatest Drummers in Rock, listing Moby Dick as the defining moment, for which he was known to use his bare hands. And in 2022, our good friend Jim Seals of Seals and Crofts passed at the age of 80. Some great songs from them. And Jenish, I don't know what levels I'm looking at tomorrow. You're going to have to come and check out the market prep tomorrow morning to see if there's any changes. We'll see what happened last night. See if the market offers any opportunities on any longer time frame levels. And I will hopefully see you there. We get a lot done first thing in the morning and looking at these markets. And the things I mentioned today and the way I was feeling today, I was very patient, and I'm hoping most of you were, and hope that helped you through the day today. Tomorrow's another day. Maybe, who knows what's going to happen, but I'm kind of expecting a little bit more of the same. But we don't know that, so we were going to check it out tomorrow morning. See you on the market prep, 7:45, same bad time, same bad channel, and we'll see you then. Have a great night. Don't forget to be kind to yourself. We work hard at this. Got to be good to yourself. Be kind to others. Please say a prayer for peace. We need all the prayers we can get. Blessings to you all, and I'll see you in the morning.